I am a champion of affiliate managers. I do think they're unsung heroes within our industry, because they're often juggling a lot. Often affiliates as a whole might make up 10 or 20% of it doing very well within the program, but usually it's something like 10%. So often they'll report into VP of growth or performance marketing panel and all the rest of it. And I think the challenge, often those people are quite data literate, I think. Sometimes it's just about getting access to that information, just and automating it, just so you can say, because often affiliate managers have to have this kind of dual aspect to them of being, okay, I've got to be the sort of person that can get on a phone call and maybe deal with some issue that the client's having and resolve it with using all the kind of soft skills and emotional intelligence and everything like that. But then I need to maybe write SQL queries on the back of that to crunch the numbers, to run a report, to understand what went wrong and why. And I think, yeah, you've hit the nail on the head. What a lot of people are looking for is for computers, software to solve and automate that problem so that they can focus on things that machines can't do very well, which is have these conversations.
I'm John Wright, and you're listening to Affiliate BI, the business intelligence and affiliate marketing podcast brought to you by StatsJohn. Welcome to the Affiliate BI podcast. Today we're chatting with Zach Measures. He's the commercial director, EMEA, at Everflow. That's everflow.io. And he's got around 20 years experience in different parts of affiliate marketing, a lot of experience. Zach, welcome to the show.
Well, thanks for having me, John. Nice to see you again. We've spoken online. We've never met in person. So
We came close in Brighton.
We did indeed. Yeah. So, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
So I'm going to skip my first question because we were just chatting and I wanted to ask your experience of how you got involved in affiliate marketing. And when I look at your LinkedIn profile, you've got a lot of rich experience touching on almost everything. I kind of wish I had your collection of experience to add to my skill set. So I just want you to share that.
Well, the danger of that is that you can be jack of all trades, master of none, right? So, I mean, I kind the broad sort of theme of what I guess my career to date has been really is mainly helping US performance-based companies expand into Europe. And this is going to date me, but I really kind of cut my teeth for a data business in London that I worked for, where I was a media buyer, and it was a co-reg business. So sort of similar to something like I'm trying to think. Publisher's House in the US, like a big co-reg prize draw site. And it was a very profitable business. We went from sort of like 17 people in a basement up to sort of 270 people, and we floated on the alternative market in London. But that was great because I was a media buyer and I was buying traffic from, and again, this is going to date me, from places like MySpace. And I was buying it on a CPM basis. So I was looking for UK traffic. We would spend money on a CPM basis, buy traffic in. People would go into this data flow and sign up for a prize draw. And then they'd enter like a tick box to say, yes, they wish to be contacted by these advertisers who would pay us fee for that. So for every sort of, $1.50 that we spent in media buying, we know that a consumer would generate us $2 or something like that. But what I discovered in time was that, okay, I went to the States for ad tech in San Francisco, and I met a number of companies that said, yeah, we've got UK traffic, but it's remnant. And so you can buy it for us on a CPA. And this kind of led me into a whole journey of then working with lots of US companies that were looking to expand. And at that time, kind of email was very big. And so it's kind of been a continuation of that, really. So I've worked for a number of startups. And Everflow is sort of within that mold as well. We're an attribution tracking platform based in San Francisco. We have around 1,000 clients. And essentially what we do is provide a way for people to create, manage, and scale their own partner activity, as we call it, or affiliate activity, as other people may know it.
Okay, I definitely have more questions now, just from that.
Cool.
So I want to jump in the first question I've got set up, which is, what's been going on with Google, just basically trashing affiliate sites. I think we're seeing more affiliates lose market share to e-commerce. So I want to ask, what are you seeing on your side of the fence given that you've got a bit of a view of affiliation as well as the affiliate programs and the network?
Well, Google is such a big gorilla, right? That you can only see part of the beast sort of within any one business, right? So I think you mentioned that you speak a lot to affiliates who are SEO sort of affiliates, driving traffic on behalf of their advertisers. We see a small part of the landscape with that, and in the sense that to take a step back, I suppose the debates that are talking, or going on with Google, obviously the big one that Google's talking about is the deprecation or removal of these third-party cookies that originally was slated for 2024, now moving to 2025. And and obviously, like your audience is sophisticated, but for those that don't know, it's really kind of about moving away from third-party collection, and that is kind of you've got first-party cookies, which is basically the company having a direct one-to-one relationship with the potential consumer, or that data being collected indirectly through another party, which is third parties. And that's kind of forcing people to have a more direct relationship with the end owner of the product, which we call an advertiser within our sort of vernacular within Everflow. And what we see is a couple of different things. I would say two big trends. One is that more and more affiliates are moving to become media buyers rather than just mere brokers. So the a lot of people are very kind of leery of kind of affiliate traffic. It can be painted with this, oh, it's fraudulent traffic. I don't know where it's coming from. Concerns about very sophisticated fraud and so on. And so lots of affiliates now have moved to becoming pure media buyers because Google is good traffic. Also, outside of Google, you've got people buying traffic on Facebook and TikTok, which is obviously huge and so on. And then that's one problem or one cohort of users that we deal with. You mentioned you were speaking to Volume earlier, who are another great tracking platform that really help media buyers very well in that space. And then the other sort of challenge that we see or that we solve for potential customers of Everflow is people having a very fragmented view of all of their performance marketing channels. The affiliate industry has kind of renamed affiliates as partners of late, right? And that can be, some people will say, well, that's just window dressing. They're still affiliate. Why are we calling them partners? But I think there's actually more and more weight to it because now partners can include affiliate 1 to 500, influencers 1 to 500, but also Google, Facebook, TikTok. And what we're starting to see now is this sort of convergence of someone, let's say like a VP of growth or, a VP of marketing who has Google under his or her kind of remit. Now we want, often they're coming to Everflow and saying, hey, Google says one number, Facebook says another number, and, TikTok says another number. We can't stitch all of these things together. We're using something like Looker or Segment or another BI tools. How can we centralize and aggregate all of this so that we get one unified dashboard of all our performance marketing spend? And so by using something like server-to-server postback, or we've got something called JavaScript SDK, which is just a line of code that sits on the thing that you want to track, you can get this unified view because it's confusing, right? We're in the industry. You've been in the industry for a long time. A lot of people are like, okay, I'm just going to put this live and hope it works. And then they start to get different numbers, and then that's where the sort of problems begin. And that really just compounds unless you solve it.
Yeah, I agree. Talking about partners, that was actually one of the questions I had, where it's like, do you see affiliates becoming more partners rather than just the standard affiliation model where it's like I get the tracking link? And I think you're kind of alluding to something where it is like, what more can we do than just send you traffic? Like, how can we do like co-branded stuff? And one of the questions, my next question written was like, do you think landing pages will become more important, where the landing page is an implied partnership, where it's not just a tracking link with all this code? It is like a co-branded landing page that says, hey, we work together. The trust level is higher. Are you seeing more of this already happening?
Yeah, I mean, I think actually going back to these affiliates, the very small part that we see, right? Because like I said, Google's such a big beast that it's too big to get into any one company's view. But for particularly within the iGaming space and things like that, it's when people are media buying, they're using something called direct linking, sending that traffic directly to the advertiser. So landing pages, obviously, everything's more competitive. Landing pages need to be mobile enabled. They need to perform well, the load time, all the rest of it. The big theme, I think, around that really is, and what you were sort of asking within that, I think, is transparency, right? Everyone's got so much data at their fingertip now. Affiliates or media buyers need to add value to that. And one way that we see that beyond the landing page and that kind of idea of transparency, breaking down whatever the user flow is into what we call events within Everflow. And so that might be, let's say, for example, you are software as a service, let's say an accounting tool or something like that. If someone's searching for, let's say you are Zero or QuickBooks or something like that. If someone's searching, how do I learn about online accounting? And they sign up for a demo, the keyword that they've inputted there, and then they've signed up for a demo, Google will fire that conversion back and say, here's a conversion, right? We think this is good. We're going to optimize this keyword. But unless you have the ability to place postbacks or tracking further down into that user flow, you could be rewarding Google for not very qualified users that are coming to the front door. They're knocking, but you're saying, actually, this isn't the kind of user that we want. So things like event level tracking linked to keywords within Google or very specific landing pages where you're asking qualifying questions can get all of that data to help qualify how you follow up with that consumer, because it's all about relevance for a consumer, isn't it? So, if you're a software as a service, a lot of people are just fact finding, when they're looking around.
Okay, we're going down the tangent route of questions. So let's say we're going to do a landing page, but rather than have it hosted on the operator side, we're going to host it on our side first before we send that click conversion over.
Yeah.
And you mentioned we're going down a path of away from third party tracking to first party. Would you say there's first party collection of data that's not just a possibility, but something affiliates should consider going, hey, before we send you to this, it's like, let's pre-qualify you, or maybe you're going to have like a lead capture form. Are you seeing more of this, or would you say that more affiliates should be thinking of this?
I definitely think more affiliates should be thinking things. The advertiser is not buying leads, really. They want to buy users. So, you might think, well, we've sent them 100 leads and that's great. And to perhaps a unsophisticated advertiser, that maybe look good for them because they've got 100 leads. But if only 3 of those leads convert, that's a waste of everyone's time in terms of trying to convert that lead back in. So pre-qualifying questions, pre-targeting that happens even prior to the click, if you're buying on Facebook or something similar. At the end of the day, like Philip Kotler said, a person doesn't buy a drill, they buy the hole, and that's what people want.
Okay. Because maybe what you could also do is S2S tracking would be perfect for that lead form, and then you send the click over. But if the user has filled out a certain amount of information, maybe you can either pre-qualify, or maybe you realize they're in a certain type of ICP. You could actually give them not just an S2S tracker, but a whole different one that says, hey, we think you're in this different type of buyer market, or you're this type of ICP. Maybe we can actually give you a different link. I'm just thinking out loud. This could be I just believe that most affiliates don't do these things, but I think the ones that are top of the food chain are the companies that think of things like this or do them.
Definitely. Definitely. I mean, we have, like I said, about 1,000 customers within Everflow, and it's a very disparate range of customers, actually. So we have banks, we have fintechs, we have lots of gaming companies. So people like Playtika, trading companies like Trading 212 and things like this. And then, Commonwealth Bank of Australia and so on. And then we also have, because we completely have what we call different instances within Everflow, completely separate ways of using Everflow. It's not a shared platform. Each customer had their own instance and a standalone walled garden version of Everflow. We also have people that use Everflow for things like dating, things like that, where they are very, very sophisticated marketers, these dating, because it's complicated. Or like iGaming, where you might have different landing pages for different states, for example. You know, if there's different rulings in different states or different countries, then a user clicks on that, they can then be directed to that landing page that's relevant to them. So whether that's in their local language, for example, well, not just a Spanish page, but maybe you have someone that's shown in Basque or Catalan, you know, if they're in Barcelona or Bilbao, whatever it is. Yeah, you can start to use systems very cleverly for that, collect data. And then again, depending on the vertical, the usual evolution of people that have multiple buyers, lead buyers, is that they will then usually sort of upgrade in the evolution of that to something called like a lead management system, if you're familiar with. So LMSs, where they can then have a ping tree that goes out to multiple buyers. So let's say, for example, you are a company that's running activity for insurance company one or whatever. Someone comes in. This is a high value user that is interested in getting a new insurance, home insurance form or something completed. You have one advertiser, and that works well. Soon you realize, well, actually, there's two or three advertisers that want exactly that type of customer. Now, what you can do with other software is you can say, great. So there's companies like Lead Prosper and Data Bowl and a bunch of other guys. Lead Byte is a very good one in the UK, where you can say, great, now I've got one consumer. I'm going to send that consumer to buyer one, wait half an hour, then same consumer to buyer two, buyer three, and so on. So often that could be a way that an affiliate agency adds more value and, you know, grows and changes as the business.
Now we're talking about a lot of things that are very deep where, you're getting really deep into the buyer journey. And I want to take a step back when we started talking about how Google was messing everything up. Would you say that affiliate sites moving forward need to be more focused as a product? So we're past the days of being just another information portal because anyone can set up an information portal. I mean, data in that sense is really cheap, but building a
Mhm.
product, like you said, like trying to be um, sending qualified leads to insurance offers. It's like, well, what would the best way of doing that? And to me, the answer is products like Credit Karma that give you your credit score, and then they basically are the perfect flow for saying, well, since you've already made it here and I've done it without SEO, I now have the ability to sell you because I mean, that's what Credit Karma does. I mean, they make pretty good money from just being a lead magnet by offering an amazing product.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, in theory, it sounds a great idea, right? But the challenge is getting found. That's the difficult thing. And there's a lot of big sites out there that have huge budget to drop that aggregate lots of content within that. So I think kind of like for affiliates, like the best thing that they can do, and it sounds sort of an anathema to what we're talking about, really, which is all about technology. But I still think a big thing that's missed is actually creating relationships with people where you can actually pick up the phone to someone that's not particularly scalable and say, hey, if you're an operator or an owner of a product, I am an affiliate network. What kind of users are you looking for? And then there's there's a myriad of ways you can get those audiences, you know, whether it's through, you know, people with their own TikTok channels or influencers or whatever. And then it's kind of saying, great, I've got one advertiser that fits that bill. These are the ICPs that they're looking for. Now I need to find another advertiser. And that's really, I mean, people talk about that and it sounds fluffy and maybe outside of what, you know, a lot of BI is about. But that personal relationship where you're actually saying like, what really are you looking to acquire from us? You know, what is that kind of user? Then you can put together like a package of actually going out and trying to find them, you know?
I think a lot of companies they get lost on the concept of scale where they forget like, people want to buy from people. We know this to be true in the B2B space, but I think we're already seeing some proof of that in the B2C space where it's like, why are video and streamers and podcasters capturing more market share? Or simply put, why are they able to create demand? I
Mm,
mean, affiliates have been just sort of sitting back and capturing it. It's like, Bet365 as an example, they just become a massive company. So naturally a lot of people are searching for it, but to create demand is something else, and I think that's where you're right. It's to have those relationships. I don't think you're going to AI or automate your way through this, and if anything, I think companies like Google with Gmail are saying, hey, we don't really want this spray and pray, like all the social channels where you can actually get, connections happening. I think these days are kind of done. Most.
Yeah, and to echo that actually, and to kind of bring it back into Google, and that side, like I think that one way of bringing sort of personality to scale. I remember speaking to a guy that I met for our podcast who had a number of different websites that he drove traffic to. So he was a very scaled publisher. And he said he's going to put a lot more emphasis, this was a year and a half ago, on video. Because like when you present something of like the benefits of using Bet365, for example, as a video, that's hard to replicate. You can quickly get a chat GPT and kind of create a site that Google is going to start searching for and indexing and be saying, well, actually, this seems to be machine generated. But if you, John Wright, are talking about the benefits of 365 and it's great and all the rest of it, and then you start to create that as an asset that's available, Google will start to favor that, for SEO stuff. So it's harder to do, I think, but that's one of the ways that we keep doing it. And, everyone's been talking about this for a very long time, but more, as an influencer or as an affiliate, you really want to be like an inch wide and a mile deep in terms of like, this is all I do, but I am an expert driving traffic for betting and gaming guys or whatever, B2B, whatever it is.
I wish I had that answer to give to all the people that do outreach. I know you get pitched all day long. It's like, hey, I do all these things, and I mean, I don't trust them.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah. So let's talk about personalization. And I know everyone wants to do everything at scale. I mean, that's just how we are in affiliate marketing. But what are you seeing in the background of how people are able to use smart ways of personalization? I'm assuming that the short answer is you need to get more data to be able to personalize anything, whether you want to do it on scale, like a large scale or small scale.
Yeah. Yeah. So taking it from the lens of, let's say, attribution and tracking, one method that definitely a lot of people use is something called smart links. We don't know whether you're familiar with this, but this is the concept of creating one link and then giving that to your affiliates. And then nested underneath that, you might have a series of different offers. So that could be different ways to A/B test landing pages, for example. So, okay, I'm going to give you, John, a link to promote this. And when a user clicks on that link, now using the targeting technology that we and other companies use, you can say, great, if this user fits this criteria, send this user to this landing page. So that might be language, it might be device type, it might be whatever it is. But you can A/B test using smart links, but you can also, like a lot of people have been quite clever in things like sending out emails. So you can send out a generic email. Let's say it's for a gaming offer or iGaming or something similar. You send out an email and embedded in that creative is a smart link. And what you can do within that is you can say, okay, let's say I have a cap for a certain operator, certain number of conversions that they want. And then after that cap is expired, I'll have another operator that fulfills that. So maybe just in the UK, for example, we have a very big race called the Cheltenham Gold Cup, within iGaming and betting and so on. You might have, 3 or 4 people that have given you an option for the Cheltenham Gold Cup. You create a generic email, you include a smart link within it, you send that out. As each of those advertisers hit their cap, the link just redirects the users to other buyers seamlessly. So, if I open that email on a Tuesday, come back on a Thursday and think, yeah, I will buy that. Actually, I'm checking with my family. Now I'm going to another provider seamlessly. No. So you can personalize it in lots of ways like that.
Never thought about that before, where you could actually say, wait a minute, you clicked on this link Monday and you came back Wednesday. I think giving that user something different or saying, hey, welcome back, or, it sounds kind of trivial, but I mean, these are things that, in my opinion, without having any data in front of me, there's no way this doesn't convert more.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Well, I mean, as we all know, right? And well, I'm assuming that most people are listening kind of data geeks to some way, to some extent. Like the British sort of made a decision in their Olympic sort of thing to sort of say, okay, we think we can win a lot of medals within cycling. And so we're going to put a lot of our eggs in those baskets. And all we're going to do is to focus on like marginal gains, you know? So they had the same, the cycling team had the same pillow every night, even though they were going to a hotel, because they realized that even this 0.5% increase in performance compounded over time really adds up. And I think that's the big thing that now a lot of marketeers want. There's so much data out there. How can you automate this process of optimizing things? You know, that big thing.
But it seems like most affiliates, and we could even probably find some large affiliates that would be guilty of this, are not always using smart links. Like, I don't even know
No,
what percentage of the space is, but I estimate that there's what, 3 million affiliates globally, if not more. I mean, your mom and your friend could be an affiliate with one click of just joining a referral program. And yeah, it's there's a whole sea of space debris of
oh yeah. I
tracking
mean,
links and broken links and
yeah. I mean, I mean, obviously, this is we should. I just got browse on this, but like one trend definitely that we see is, for example, we deal with a lot of different types of companies, but you know, let's say you're an e-commerce company, right? So you're using a tracking platform. You've got a good idea of like, these are my partners. I'm working with these partners. I want to plug in Google, Facebook, and so on. What's the next stage of growth? And often, like our team will say, well, have you thought about turning your customers into ambassadors or referral sources? And so you can do things like turn a tracking link into a QR code. Because if you're sending out any physical product, you own that real estate. You might as well turn that into a QR code. So whether that's on the item itself, in a letter that's included within the item, and you know that could be anything. It could be refer a friend and get 10% off or whatever. This could be for software as well. You know, I think a lot of people are forgetting that the biggest referral sources usually come from their own customer base, and it's turning people from happy customers into tracked referrals. So there's lots of different use cases for affiliate. And as you said, anyone can become an affiliate now.
so I'm always looking at stats, and I think I've read something that the affiliate marketing space today is worth around close to 20 billion, and in 2030 it should be around 36 billion. Let's assume that people get smarter with optimizing everything, like all the things that we've been talking about before. How much bigger do you think affiliate marketing could be um, using 36 billion? And that's been kind of like a 10 to 15% compounded growth per year.
Hmm.
Do you think it could be
Well,
bigger?
yeah, for sure. And like, I think it's very difficult for people to get true numbers on the size of the total affiliate base. I actually think it'd be a lot bigger. I can share with you, like, Everflow is a company that, you know, no one walking around the street has heard of. You know, a few people in our industry. But just as a small company with 100 staff, we process $4 billion dollars of affiliate revenue payout per year. Um, so like, I think that number is like way north of that sort of 36 billion. And I think it's actually maybe 10 times bigger, 20 times bigger. And I think it will get bigger because like there's a lot of focus to previously to learn how to do affiliate marketing. Like, we're getting into the weeds of it here,
Yeah.
but for the average person to learn how to do affiliate marketing, it's actually got simpler in terms of like, okay, great. You want to work with me? I want to work with you. I'll just generate you a tracking link. You can promote this however you want on your TikTok reel, on your LinkedIn posts, whatever it is. And the audience that you can reach very quickly is, you know, is much more scalable. So yeah, I think obviously I'm biased, but I do think it will grow. And I do think that people now are seeing themselves as influencers, you know, more and more professionals are seeing themselves as influencers. And to track all of this, and this, you know, you touched upon CRMs maybe, to track some of this, like you can do it not just through affiliate links and so on, but you can also link to a CRM for when introductions are made or an email is made and something like that.
Okay, then that goes right into the next question of like, do you think we don't really have any proper CRMs for both affiliates slash publishers as well as operators? Because I mean, when we think of CRM, we think of HubSpot and Pipedrive and Salesforce. And those things are great on their own, but I feel like we need our own customized version that lives and breathes our space.
Mm. Well, I hate to sound like an advert here and just shut me off, but like essentially, yeah, Everflow is like a CRM for affiliate. And there are other companies out there, some really good companies as well. So like when you start searching, if you're looking for this, the problems that these companies as a whole sort of solve are the administrative elements of running an affiliate program. So that can be, okay, I want to organize all my partners. I want to organize all my creative assets. I want to make sure these are all tracked. I want to pay partners with invoicing. I want to give them a login. There are definitely companies that can do this. So like if you are finding that managing your affiliate program is causing you more headaches to scale than it's worth, which is often the case. Sometimes the affiliate program will be doing very well, and the person that's running that will be, I don't want to scale this anymore because I'm managing it on spreadsheets, all the rest of it, and it's just not working for me. So there are a bunch of companies out there that can really help with that to really be a CRM to manage all of that. And of course, it can plug into the more traditional CRMs because let's say, for example, you are running an affiliate program on a B2B, for example. Let's say you are a software as a service that's maybe doing, or we mentioned accounting software earlier. Like you want not only to be buying or giving out a tracking link that just goes to someone to book a demo. You want to understand what that user's doing and the value of those users as they go through that user flow. Now, and that is super, super important. So like we link to HubSpot, Salesforce, for example. And so, for B2Bs, it's essential for them to see, okay, postback is firing, an electronic signal is sending back that the consumer's done something. So they booked a demo. Maybe they've had the follow-up call with the sales rep. Maybe information has been sent out, trial, upgrade, enterprise upgrade. You want to track all of that so that you can reward that referral source and also learn more about, okay, these type of users go much deeper into the user flow. They don't just sign up to do a demo where it's not relevant. You want to really link that ICP right the way through to someone that is upgrading and becoming a paid for them.
Next, I want to jump into data literacy because I know you have the Everflow certification program. So I want to ask what's in the course and what is your take on where we are as an industry of trying to make people not just understand the basic, but level up. I believe that affiliate managers are one of the areas where if they understood data better, then they could do more of just being salespeople.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Well, probably like your good self, right? I am a champion of affiliate managers. I do think they're unsung heroes within our industry, because they're often juggling a lot. And sometimes within a big organization, the affiliate manager can occupy quote unquote relatively lowly position because often affiliates as a whole might make up 10 or 20% of it doing very well within the program. But usually it's something like 10%. So often they'll report into VP of growth or performance marketing panel and all the rest of it. And I think the challenge, often those people are quite data literate, I think. Sometimes it's just about getting access to that information, just and automating it, just so you can say, because often affiliate managers have to have this kind of dual aspect to them of being, okay, I've got to be the sort of person that can go on a phone call and maybe deal with some issue that the client's having and resolve it with using all the kind of soft skills and emotional intelligence and everything like that. But then I need to maybe write SQL queries on the back of that to crunch the numbers, to run a report, to understand what went wrong and why. And I think, yeah, you've hit the nail on the head. What a lot of people are looking for is for computers, software to solve and automate that problem so that they can focus on things that machines can't do very well, which is have these conversations. Take that affiliate source out for lunch, all the good stuff that you want to do, but you need the system to be automating this stuff so that you don't have to run reports or have the system blocking sub IDs like at click level if there's problems happening, whether the signature of the traffic looks wrong. You need these stipulations and signatures in place at the tracking platform level so that you're not basically spending your day fighting fires with, the operators or the owners of the offer and so on.
I think I've just realized that maybe affiliate managers have one of the biggest burdens in affiliate marketing because they have to be the salespeople, they have to be the relationship manager, they have to quite often build the program, they have to make the decisions of how they're going to grow the program, where there's not really a lot of documentation behind it. And then we're basically asking them on the flip side, be really good at data and reports and the finances and all that stuff. I mean, this is actually, I think no wonder why, this is actually my personal opinion. Affiliate managers are one bottleneck in the industry where we're asking them to do everything. And they're the ones that actually go to the owner of the company and say, we're going to pick this software for this reason. It's like you're asking them to do all of it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And often why the case is that those affiliate managers, when they either move away from affiliate into something kind of easier, like brand or something similar, or just focusing on Google, or they set up their own agency, right? And there does seem to be kind of like within like an affiliate agency, um, maybe up to 10 people is kind of the level that it gets to. And then it sometimes scales up and down and things like that, because you've got smart people that come in and realize, well, I can do this myself, I'm gonna go and do it.
One of your articles on your website talks about agencies, and I forget what the context was, but it was something that agencies are going to suffer where there's a lot of them, and I think maybe the margins are going to get tighter. So I want to just get your take on what do you see as agencies today or moving forward? What do they have to do to be good at to not just survive, but to grow?
Yeah, and I think agencies need to add value, right? We all can think of agencies as, and for us, like agencies are a central part of our strategy, sort of ongoing, because they can help. Everflow, we provide a software as a service, as a CRM, to manage all of this affiliate activity. What we present, we've got some tools to help people scale, like a marketplace and so on. But agencies really will then take that program forward. So they can come up with ideas of like, well, let's turn these QR codes into adverts on bus stops or in print or wherever it is. And I think the challenges that a lot of agencies have from a pricing perspective is, you and I were talking about B2B being a very big space post COVID. You know, that with all the, let's say inflation and moving away from a zero interest rate world where suddenly these software as a service have got to be earning money, God forbid, rather than just raising VC money, building a product and hoping, the world comes to them. It's kind of like most growth managers now are viewed through like a performance lens of like, okay, we're buying users. We can't just be afford to be buying users that don't go on and do something. So they need to be, again, deeper into that user flow. And that is then pushed forward to the agencies where it's like, we don't want brand campaigns. We need kind of users like, and, we are happy to pay you, but, we haven't got that kind of money now because that VC money has dried up. And, the dragons further up the chain are kind of breathing and saying like, when is this company going to start making money?
Going back to QR codes, because you mentioned that a few times, and I actually don't
Yeah.
think I spent much time talking about that with any of the previous guests. So what would you say are like how do operators and affiliates need to look at QR codes in terms of we know they're growing, we see these QR code companies just they're flying, they're just printing money. What are we not doing to integrate QR code?
Yeah, I think kind of QR code, the sort of like, the sort of the unwanted stepchild of kind of like, they get overlooked because it seems like old fashioned technology to turn a tracking link into a QR code. And that was in the days where it was like a real faff to, oh, there's a QR code. I need to get my app to read it and all the rest of it. Now people can do that. And it bridges the gap between very cheap offline media like newspapers, like leaflet, like letters that you can include when you send a product to a consumer, like the QR code that could sit on a bottle of nutrition, supplements or whatever it is. That's free real estate that you can advertise in. Bridges that gap between very expensive and very competitive um, online media, And so I think QR codes can be used in lots of different ways, whether it's through referral sources for a B2B. Let's say one of my clients is like a credit checker in the UK. So people are buying a home, um, they need to get their credit checked, right? And so their affiliate program, this company, is basically mortgage advisors, and they will use things like QR codes on their business cards to say, "Hey, you're in my office. We're talking about you buying a house. There you go, right?" And that can all be tracked back to that individual mortgage advisor as a partner within the program, and you can use it in kind of strange ways like that people are not necessarily thinking of. It's all about bridging that gap. So I think they're kind of unloved QR codes to some degree.
We won't get into the conversation yet about broken links in QR codes. That's definitely going to be a thing in the future. If we already have broken tracking links as being a major problem in affiliate marketing, then this will become a problem later.
Yeah, we don't
So
really
I
see
want to
it, to
ask,
be honest.
yeah, it's there. So what are you seeing in the iGaming space? Because I know Everflow has some clients in iGaming, and you're looking to expand in there. What do you see
Yeah,
coming from, my opinion, of the outside affiliate marketing world going in this unique space?
yeah, definitely. Well, you and I got connected because through your other interests, you help aggregate a lot of that information, right, from the operators and things like that. And one challenge that we saw when we looked at this industry maybe 3 years ago was that the player data often arrives in unusual ways, whether that's flat FTP files or something like that that's being sent through. And there seemed to be, for commercial reasons as well as technical reasons, a reluctance to place postback at the point at which a consumer does something. And so we kind of looked at it and then we thought, well, there's other tangential markets that we can serve that are better. But what seems to have changed in those last 3 years is, and you probably know this better than me, John, is that there seems to be more of an acceptance now from operators to be at least willing to place postbacks where something happens. So that might be a registration or an install or a deposit or something similar. And what we're seeing, and it's really kind of early days in terms of the number of up and running customers, scaled customers that we have, but definitely noticeable is that media buyers are using Everflow to link things like Facebook directly to the operators. So they're media buying and they're maybe running traffic to Paddy Pal or someone similar. And they're using Everflow specifically for that.
Makes sense. Yeah, it's I just think with the S2S space, what I believe to be true is that as affiliates integrate this stuff on their side and say, okay, we're gonna go from regular tracking to S2S with postbacks. I think once they realize how they're able to learn from their mistakes, and like you said very early on about the incremental gains, I think
Yeah.
operators, they might be seeing it in a different way, but they see it in the wrong sense. The wrong sense is you got to feel it saying, we will not send you a single click of traffic unless you give me a postback. So affiliate operators are being kind of like drawn to the water, so to speak. And I think this is
Yeah.
where we're going to change. And of course, it goes without saying, I think if operators can see any data that support growth from having S2S tracking, um, either they're going to do it or they're going to fade out or be acquired by a company that's done those incremental gains.
Yeah, and this is always the tension that exists between advertisers and publishers, right? It's that transparency of like, okay, I'm going to send you 1,000 clicks. What's actually happened to those users? And you've got this kind of, again, this sort of tension that exists where the advertiser might sort of say, well, actually, 800 of those clicks are rubbish, but 200 of them will go on to do something. Unless one side talks to another and postback do allow that, then it's that mistrust continues, and it's not in the benefit of either party, I don't think, because yes, there are fraudulent companies out there that are going to try and run traffic, but postbacks can solve that quite quickly as well, where you can see traffic as it's coming in, and you can block sub IDs that don't meet criteria that you want, whether it's too high conversion rates, or if you use something like AppsFlyer, their 360 tool, you can link that to tracking platforms like Everflow and just block that at the click level. So as these clicks are happening, if let's say the fraud level on AppsFire 360 is over 3% or whatever, system can automatically start blocking those sub IDs. Because it's all about pruning the tree rather than chopping the whole thing down, right? And because there is kind of gold in those hills, as it were, but you don't want to just completely shut the door on it.
No, and I think that could be another conversation for just talking about blocking of clicks and filtering things out on both the affiliate side as well as the operator.
Yeah, sure.
And then last question, which is, what do you see of the future of affiliate marketing as it intersects with business intelligence?
Yeah, well, I think as we sort of initially discussed, and I guess the theme of this conversation is help online marketers need tools to help them optimize all of the myriad of data that they get about consumers. You know, it's becoming more competitive to buy a consumer to do something. It becomes there's more imperative of getting things like lifetime value of that user and increasing the average revenue per user and so on. And so I think as there's more and more data that's just being generated, just generally, on the internet. I mean, if you think since maybe ChatGPT launched, I don't know, January of, when is it, last year, can you imagine how quickly the internet grown in terms of just the sheer number of actual physical sites and all the rest of it, let alone all the data points. So I think within all that noise, people need tools to help them distill data to its essence of like, okay, we understand that these consumers are coming in and these users have a higher lifetime value than these users. Where are they coming from? What are the features that make that user value as a user, high value users? And then how do we get more of that? And how do we strip that stuff out? But what people don't want is to log into 50 different systems, stitch data together and try and work it out. They want like aggregated views of all of that data. And they want the system to start making those suggestions back to them of like, hey, this is what we're starting to see. There's a lot of kind of intelligence and AI that there in lots of stuff that we, interface with. We need that kind of curated distillation of data that comes back to online marketers. Say, hey, we've noticed this micro trend that happened, because sometimes within all the noise, it's difficult to see, particularly if it's residing in lots of different spaces.
And that's a good summary of why, we wanted to have this Affiliate BI podcast to talk about these things and going, how do we optimize, automate, standardize things? And I think it starts with these conversations. So Zach, you're welcome on as another guest. I have way more questions that I could easily do for a second episode. How can people get a hold of you?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, they can connect with me on LinkedIn. So Zach Measures is my name. People think it's made up, that I work in attribution with the name Measures. But yeah,
Perfect.
Google me, and then you can reach me at zach@everflow.io. And happy to answer any questions or share like case studies that we've seen. So like, I think it's kind of important to share the knowledge, and I'm very happy to do that. And thank you for again letting me on the program today.
Once again, your podcast, what is the name of it for the guests?
The Everflow podcast. You just search for Everflow within Apple, you'll find it. We've got a podcast there. We call it Fireside Chat, I believe. But if you search for Everflow, you'll be able to find that.
Great. We'll include that in the show note. Thanks again.
No worries. Pleasure.
Thank you for tuning in to the Affiliate BI podcast. I'd like to take this time to ask for a small favor to leave a rating and review wherever you listen to your podcast. That helps us expand our reach to rank higher in podcast directories and reach more listeners.